Okay, today we're going to be talking about memoirs. I wasn't a huge fan of memoirs. The ones that I had been picking up were just honestly not working for me. I kind of thought I just didn't like memoirs. And as I've read more and more of them, I have come to learn that I do, in fact, like memoirs. But it's specific types. Like, it's a very much a Goldilocks situation where it has to be like this just right middle ground. And I think that part of the reason I don't like them as much is because of their marketing. Let's talk about how I've kind of come to terms with my taste, or what my taste is in memoirs. So I like when a memoir is, first off, marketed as a memoir, and then it's not just necessarily about their life, but like they pick an aspect of their life and then connect it to something outside of their life. And this can be very general. So let's talk about a few examples. Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. I think that the subtitle really speaks for what this book is about. Okay, it is Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of Plants. So it's a lot about her personal life, being an Indigenous woman, her perspective of being a botanist. Am I getting that right? I believe she's a botanist. And then her kind of blending those things together and speaking to her personal experience, but also speaking to things outside of herself. Another book that I really loved that did this is Emma Dabiri's Twisted: The Tangled History of Black Hair Culture. So she takes in this one, it's more like she takes a topic, so black hair and black hair culture, and then as a black woman, she kind of takes this history and this culture and weaves her experience into the things that she's talking about. So it's almost like she takes the concept and shows application of it to her own life, which again was just a really well done blend, and I really appreciated it. Another one is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. A lot of people have probably heard of the Stanford sexual assault case. It got a lot of airtime. The woman who was at the middle of this was Chanel Miller at the time. She was Jane Doe, and she came out with this book and removed her anonymity. I can never say that word. And talks about her experience being victim blamed through this entire thing, her emotional experience going through this, and then the culture around victim blaming and the legal system kind of promoting victim blaming. So it is very much about her experiences, but she is connecting it to the larger global landscape as she's writing. Another one, Buttermilk Graffiti, a chef's journey to discover America's new melting pot cuisine. So Edward Lee is a chef, and he travels to different parts of the United States that, due to immigration, have higher concentrations of a certain population of people present, and because of that population's food. And he goes to the restaurants and kind of chats with the people, eats the food, and it's a very philosophical look at the it's almost like him as a chef providing food philosophy and the philosophy of food and culture and what makes a food authentic, or the combining of different cuisines. He goes to these places and he looks at it all through a philosophical lens, while still sharing his own experiences of being a chef, physically being at these places, etc. It took me a while to figure out I liked these books, because I feel like there is this type of marketing that occurs with, in my experience, science nonfiction, where it is marketed as a science nonfiction, but then you get a memoir. An example, The Soul of an Octopus, a surprising exploration into the wonder of consciousness by Montgomery. I thought that this book was just going to be about octopuses. That's it. Like, us learning about octopuses. And then we would have these like cut scenes to Montgomery's life, and I wasn't expecting that, and because I wasn't expecting it, I didn't want it. I was like, no offense to Montgomery, but I was like, who cares what's going on in your life right now? Like, what does this have to do with octopuses? Like, I'm here to learn about octopuses. So this is one where, first off, the marketing was much more towards like the science side of things. Second, the combination of the science part, octopuses, and the memoir of Montgomery's life weren't connected by anything thematic for me. So it felt like two books in one. It felt like her exploration of octopuses and learning more about it and getting and like the actual like scientific aspects of it. And then it felt like what just happened to be going on in her life at the time, which was just very disconnected for me. Another one that I read that I feel that this happened in, and I actually DNF'd this book, is Winter World, The Ingenuity of Animal Survival by Bernd Heinrich. Now, based on the name, Winter World, The Ingenuity of Animal Survival, that is literally what I thought I was going to be getting. I thought I was going to be getting a book about surviving winter. So things like animals that continue to move around and animals that hibernate and the scientific aspects of that. But what I was getting was him walking around in a winter location, which I think most of this was like Vermont, Maine, and doing like very small experiments in nature. And then like kind of talking about his life a little bit as he like ponders things outside. So it wasn't super science, like there was science parts, but it wasn't like, it was like literally him like going out and being like, oh, I'm gonna pull 6 acorns and I'm gonna see how the birds are interacting. Like that's super casual, which like good for him. Like, yeah, you do what you do, but that's not like you wouldn't try to publish that in a scientific journal or anything, because it wouldn't get through peer review, right? It's just like him having hunches and going out into the wilderness and being like, all right, let's do this. So it didn't really hit the science side of things. And then I'm like, why am I watching this guy walk around and talk about his life just based on the title, based on like I keep saying, the marketing? I thought I was getting something way different. If I knew it was gonna be much more like conversational, much more like him just like kind of philosophizing about it, I would want the subtitle to say that. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say when it comes to this topic. It's just something I've been thinking about as I've been reading more nonfiction and more memoirs and like kind of finding my sweet spot. But I would be really curious to hear if you guys have any recommendations of books that like kind of hit my sweet spot that I've been talking about. And if you guys run into this same issue, or if you honestly don't care and I'm just getting too deep into this. So I think that's all I have for this video. And until next time, happy reading.